Hello, I'm Sarah Millican, one of the authors of this course. In this brief introductory video, I'm going to give you an overview of Module 7, Plant Varieties. Before we look at different plant varieties in detail, I will give a brief overview of some of the general principles relating to growing plants in an aquaponic system. This includes plants that are suitable and those that are not suitable, monoculture and polyculture, companion planting, planting densities, production rates, and nutrient demand. More than 150 different vegetables, herbs, and flowers have been grown successfully in aquaponic systems. But there are some plants that don't grow well, some that don't make sense in terms of economics, and some that probably won't work due to space restrictions. The type of system will also affect plant choice. Root crops can be grown successfully in deep media beds, but not in other types of system. Crops with a low market price, such as radishes, are not cost-effective to grow. Vining plants, such as squashes and pumpkins, require a large amount of space and again may not be a commercially viable choice. And some plants, like rosemary, simply do not do well in a watery environment. There are two types of cropping system, monoculture and polyculture. A monoculture is a system with a single plant type or variety, while a polyculture is a system with different plant types and varieties. A monoculture is the simpler option from a logistical point of view. However, it runs the risk of exhausting demand, and poor pest control may lead to the entire crop being lost. A polyculture, on the other hand, gives farmers the possibility of meeting a variety of demand and is inherently more robust and resistant to pest outbreaks. A crop set for polyculture requires crops with overlapping pH and temperature preferences. Polyculture may also involve the use of companion plants. The principle behind companion planting is that the association of different plants can have a mechanical, repellent, or dissuasive effect against pests. Tomatoes, for example, benefit from being associated with herbs such as basil, chives, and parsley. When choosing crops, it is important to bear in mind the size of the growing space and choose those varieties that give the best financial return per square metre. On average, leafy greens can be planted at a density of between 20 and 25 plants per square metre, while fruiting crops, on average, can be planted at a density of 4 plants per square metre. For a commercial operation, you also need to take into consideration the production rates of different plants. Okra, for example, can produce as much as 2.8 kilos per square metre, basil 4.4 kilos, lettuce as much as 6.5 kilos, and water spinach 37 kilos per square metre. And finally, you need to be aware of the nutrient demand of different plants. Low nutrient demand plants include leafy greens and herbs, such as pak choi and chives. At the other end of the spectrum are plants with high nutrient demand, such as aubergines and strawberries. Plants with medium nutrient demand are members of the cabbage family, such as kale and cauliflower. In the next section of the course, we're going to look in some detail at 18 different plant species which grow well in aquaponic systems. These include leafy greens, herbs, and fruiting crops. For each of the species, we're going to look at the ideal growing conditions, the length of the growing cycle, common pests and disease, and recommendations for harvesting and storage. We're then going to look at how the style of grow bed, whether it's deep water culture, NFT or media bed, influences the choice of plants. And finally, we'll look at crop scheduling. This involves using a staggered harvesting and replanting cycle, which helps keep the water chemistry stable and also provides continuous production.